Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. Tony, Pennsylvania police are looking for whoever stole 100,000 eggs from the back of a truck over the weekend.
Tony Kornheiser. The police must be scrambling. Get it? Scrambling? Wait, I have more. I hope they crack this case. Let me know if I can help. You don't think that's funny? How can you have 100,000 eggs in the back of it? Doesn't that seem like a lot?
To do what?
Lunch?
You're not going to resell? Is there a black market
for eggs?
For eggs?
Have you seen the price of eggs lately?
No.
Maybe there is. Maybe there is. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, Rick Pitino wins. De'Aaron Fox is expected to play tonight, and Troy Aikman joins us for 5 good minutes. But we begin today with more NBA vapor rising ahead of tomorrow's trade deadline. Chris Haynes reports that Kevin Durant will not play tonight against the Thunder, which might indicate there's a trade brewing. But ESPN reports that Durant has no desire to return to the Warriors. One deal did get done today. The Bucks are sending Chris Middleton to the Wizards for Kyle Kuzma. Wilbon, where do you want to start?
You could always start with Durant, who's the greatest player we're going to talk about in this segment. But there's a lot of drama always with Kevin Durant. Not necessarily of his doing. I did enough.
Are you saying you're sick of Kevin Durant and trade rumors?
Well, just rumors of something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to go straight to this Middleton deal to the Wizards. First of all, my goodness, to go from Milwaukee, where you've contended for and won a championship a few years ago, 2021, to the Wizards.
It's like going into exile.
You've
been sent into exile.
Yes, not like going. You are going into exile.
Yeah.
But here's the problem, Tony, and he's going for Kuzma, who's 4 years younger at 29. And Kuzma's capable. And he played on that bubble Lakers team. I mean, Kuzma's been in
COVID bubble team.
In pressure games.
Sure.
He knows what that's like. But Middleton, here's the problem for the Bucks, and here's why they're making this deal. Chris Middleton, since they won that championship, he's played the last 3 seasons in 52% of the games. That's all he's played in. There's been these injuries starting in the 22 playoffs where he played 2 games and then couldn't play anymore, and then has been hurt successively. And the Bucks are not those championship Bucks without Chris Middleton, but they can't wait or get him back. So they got to move on. They got to go elsewhere, and that's what they're going to count on Kuzma to do. But let me just say this. I don't know that Kuzma at his best is the two-way player that Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton vastly underrated on that team.
Was.
Yeah.
Not is. Was.
Yeah.
Okay.
True.
We're not going to worry about Middleton. He's not going to. It's not even conceivable he'll be on the Wizards next season. It's not even conceivable. No, of course not. I sat here a couple of days ago, and I said to you, there's 2 people on the Wizards that have any value at all in the trade market. And they're going to be traded before the deadline as the Wizards sink to the bottom.
Really, 3.
One of them was Kuzma. Yeah. One of them was Jordan Poole. And I would add Valanciunas. Yes, no, I would add them now.
Yeah.
The reason this is good for Milwaukee is that the numbers that Kuzma has put up so far this year, 15.2, I think, average points, 5.8 average rebounds. They're better than Middleton's numbers when Middleton plays.
They are.
Here's what Kuzma isn't. He can't be your main option. He's not good enough. So he's no good on the Wizards, okay? But he'll be okay there, although his shooting percentages are way down. I am fascinated right now and amazed at how much more interesting the NBA is off court than on court with these trades. Look, here's my theory, that people are sitting in the offices in the NBA in Manhattan, and they're saying this. You know, on Christmas Day, the NFL decided to crush us, and they did. We thought it was our day, but they crushed us. But how are we doing Super Bowl week? Because we have real news Super Bowl week, and they got nothing. I'm
not going to give the NBA in New York any credit for that.
If somebody in that league said, let's do it this way, that person should get a raise.
As a matter of fact, they worked against it, and here's why they're getting lucky. They've done everything in the world in terms of the economic structure of the league to prohibit trades among big players. And yet, the culture of that league is gossip. It is talk, chatter all the time, and the league didn't realize it, and the owners don't want it. They don't. And they got lucky.
They're lucky.
They got lucky this week with all that's happened. There's also news on the actual court. Not as good as the trade talk. The Celtics beat the East leading Cavaliers in Cleveland last night. The Sixers got Joel Embiid back, and he delivered a triple-double. In his first game in a month. That's directed at you, Tony. A win over the Mavericks in which AD did not play. And De'Aaron Fox is scheduled to make his debut for the Spurs tonight in Atlanta. So which of these storylines do you find most intriguing? And I know it won't be Embiid.
Well, look, you think I hate Embiid.
Yes.
I'll give Embiid credit. He played very well in his first time back in a month.
He did.
Played very well. He had the go-ahead basket. But Anthony Davis didn't play. Okay, so that doesn't matter. De'Aaron Fox is going to play sometime in the future. Tonight, it didn't happen already. The other game, Boston beats Cleveland. Cleveland loses to good teams lately. Boston's a good team, so what?
Good point.
This gets me, all these things are prologue. The main event in the NBA right now, by a factor of 3 million, is Luka and LeBron.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to know, is this going to work? Can they play together? Will they share things? What's going to happen? That is the overarching story in the NBA right now. LeBron James is one, and that's why, by the way, in Dallas, they're demanding refunds on their season tickets.
Angry in North Texas.
LeBron James is one of the greatest players of all time in basketball. And Luka's numbers at this point indicate he's on that same trajectory. I said this to you yesterday, I'm going to say it to you again. If I ran ESPN, if I ran Turner, I would rip up the NBA schedule that is in front of me, and I would try to get the Lakers on every single game.
Well, you're going to get to that soon enough, but I actually do care about the other games, and we'll get to Luka and LeBron. I want to see De'Aaron Fox, because him joining the Spurs means that the Spurs have, I think, 3 of the 5 best pick-and-roll players in the league, because I think Chris Paul is 1. Even at 40 years old, Chris Paul is 1. And Wembanyama's in the top 5 or 6 at the lowest end, and De'Aaron Fox is in the top 5 too. I want to see what that looks like, because I think that Oklahoma City, Houston, and San Antonio, in that order. And San Antonio is going to take the longest. You read about that.
Oh, yeah.
But they made a deal, and you did love that deal
Love the
in real
deal.
time.
I love the deal.
To see De'Aaron Fox. Well, let's see him.
I love the deal.
Let's see him and Wembanyama and Chris Paul. I want to see what they look like.
But if you ask
Keldon
me,
Johnson, and
what would it take for me to watch De'Aaron Fox over Luka and LeBron? It would be impossible. I would not do it.
You know what? I've been trying to get you to do this for about 20 years now.
Luka and LeBron.
How about another TV? How about that?
Well, how about they start a little bit earlier, like 6:30 in the East? Let's move to college basketball, where last night in Madison Square Garden, number 12 St. John's beat number 11 Marquette. It was a close game the whole way, with St. John's winning despite an atrocious performance from the free throw line, 17 of 31, and an atrocious performance from the three-point line, 3 of 16.
Worse.
Marquette is now 18-5. St. John's is 20-3 and on top of the Big East at 11-1. Wilbon, what does this win and this season so far say about Rick Pitino and St. John's?
It's just another reminder, Tony, and then many reminders about that gentleman we just saw shaking hands, Rick Pitino. This is not news to us. We have been following Rick Pitino
Over 40 years.
more than 40 years.
Yeah.
And it's a reminder, and there's a reminder every so often, that Rick Pitino is great at putting a team together. He is great at coaching that team. He is great at getting that team in whatever big games it has scheduled that year to play well in them and win more than the other guy. That's what Pitino does. And I know there's some times, there's some press conference and incidents where you cringe.
That's right.
But again,
that's right.
We've known Rick Pitino for a long time. And if somebody was going to say, you get to pick a coach out there right now, active coaches, to win a game and your life is on the line, Rick Pitino is going to be in a real tiny group of dudes.
So they hired Rick Pitino, St. John's did, before last season. He went 20-13, I believe. Is that the number? 11-9 in the Big East, and they did not make the NCAA tournament. They did not hire him to not make the NCAA tournament. He came back this year. He's got transfers from Utah. He's got transfers from Seton Hall. The team is remade. They are 4th in the country in defense, which is how you beat a good team, even though you cannot shoot from the three-point line or the one-point line.
Yeah.
You can't do that. As you say, we go back a long way. We were covering the Final Four in 1987 when he was at Providence, covered him winning in Kentucky, covered him winning in Louisville, right? I mean, that's why you hire Rick Pitino. Now, it's a risky hire. There are incidents that would turn you away from this hire. But Rick Pitino is a Long Island boy, and like me, grew up watching St. John's basketball, knows the history of St. John's basketball. Mike, to me, that is the perfect spot for Rick Pitino's last spot as a coach, is St. John's.
If we think it'll be his last spot.
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
Because again, wherever Rick Pitino goes, he's going to win if he has any time whatsoever. Again, these other things we refer to don't have actually anything to do with basketball.
That's right.
Rick Pitino's in his laboratory, the gym.
That's right. Let's take one last break. Still to come, do the Chiefs have an aura advantage as they try to win their third straight Super Bowl? We will ask Troy Aikman.
Why do they keep doing that failed spike attempt by 15? We'll also ask him how he feels about seeing an old school running attack like the Eagles have. Running the football.
You know,
Power football.
it's a weird world where the SEC is the best basketball conference, so I don't know what it means to be great in the Big East.
Let's see him, Mark.
Unless it's UConn. A PTI investigation has revealed that the Super Bowl is this week.
No.
Which makes it a perfect time to bring in our great friend, ESPN Monday Night Football analyst, Hall of Fame quarterback Troy Aikman. This is a rather amorphous question, the first question. The Chiefs are going for 3 straight Super Bowls, which obviously hasn't been done. But you won 3 in 4 years. You were back there often. Do you believe that when you go there and you win it and you're there repeatedly, that you have an aura advantage? Is there something about the aura of Kansas City that helps them in this game?
Well, I think what helps them is the fact that they've been in these one-possession games, so many of them this year, and they've won those. The other part of that, Tony, is that there's a lot of players on this team that obviously have been in Super Bowls in the past. And so this idea that the Super Bowl is just like any other game, if you say that, then you've never played in the Super Bowl, because you know as soon as you get off the airplane that this week is different than any other week you've been a part of. The good news for Philadelphia is they've got players that have been there recently as well against this very team. So from that standpoint, I think both teams come into it. They know exactly how emotionally they're going to feel, not only during the week, but when the game kicks off, and how that's going to be managed by them. But I don't, typically I would agree with you that I would say, wow, Kansas City probably has an advantage because of their experience. But because of the opponent this week being Philadelphia, I think whatever advantage they may have would be negligible.
I want to narrow this to quarterback for a second and the approach, Troy, to a Super Bowl. Is it more about the plays you make or the mistakes you avoid in this particular game?
Jimmy Johnson would always say, and it's always resonated with me, that it's not how many big plays you make, it's how few bad plays you make. And I think there's so much truth to that. You hear so many people say, hey, you can't win the game until you keep from losing the game. And I do feel that that's the right approach. But with that said, we've all seen it in big games, in big playoff games, that there is going to be a play that is going to have the potential to be made, a big play, and whichever team makes that play, more than likely is going to be the team that has the advantage then of going on to win. So yeah, you can't turn the ball over, you can't have dumb penalties, all of those things, but when the plays present themselves to create a big play or make a big play, you got to capitalize on those as well. So I think it's a little bit of a mix between the two as far as what has to be done in order to play well and win a big game.
Speaking of mix, I'm old enough and just old school enough that I love Saquon Barkley and power football and the way the Eagles played. You have some experience with that, you and Emmitt Smith and others. Quarterbacks want to throw the football, but when you can turn around and hand it to somebody like Saquon, or in your case, 22 in the biggest game of the year, what's the feeling there, Troy, about playing power football on the final Sunday of the year?
Well, I had the best seat in the house, and I will tell you, Michael, that in 1993, that season, that Super Bowl against Buffalo and Atlanta, we were struggling. We came out in the third quarter to open up that third quarter, and we handed the ball off to Emmitt about 8 or 9 straight times out of 10 plays that we went on to score a touchdown. And we got the offensive line going and the running game going, and that's what Philadelphia has been able to do, really all season long. So I think the pendulum has swung a little bit from this aerial assault that we've seen for the last several years. Now we're seeing teams, more and more of them, running the football. And running the ball has won a lot of football games in the history of this game, and it has here in recent years as well. When you look at the teams that have really dedicated themselves to running the football, that being Baltimore, and of course they bring in Derrick Henry, and then Philadelphia this year with Saquon Barkley. I think the running back a couple of years ago, there wasn't a big market for them, as we know. I think that market is coming back, and rightfully so. I'm a big believer in it. I benefited from it. I think it creates a level of physicalness and toughness that permeates throughout your entire football team. It's hard to be regarded as a physical team and not be a team that can run the ball. And Philadelphia obviously is going to rely heavily on Saquon Barkley, and I anticipate that Saquon Barkley is going to have a lot to say as far as what the outcome of this game is going to be.
And so that leads into the way we get you out of here on this question. Which way are you leaning right now?
You know, I just find I'm like the rest of America, Tony, that, how do you bet against Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah.
There's a lot of quarterbacks in the game that just play every possession as if it's the same. And Patrick Mahomes, like Tom Brady and like other great quarterbacks before them, they know how to win. And Patrick Mahomes doesn't care what it may look like. He knows that when the game's on the line, that he will find a way, and he knows exactly what the formula is. And the formula is different from one possession to the next or from one game to the next. And he's proven that, obviously, as I mentioned, with the one-score games and them being able to win all of them. Until proven otherwise, I'm going to stand behind Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes.
Thank you, Troy. Pleasure to have you all season. Thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Let's take one last break. Still to come, did Alex Ovechkin just draw closer to Wayne Gretzky? We're going to need replay to find out.
UCLA's women have been dominating this season. Will they get tested tonight?
Troy won 3 of these things.
Yeah.
Okay, 3.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
You know what?
He knows how to do
If
it.
he stayed coupled with the head coach who won the first 2, they would have probably won 2 more.
Yeah, Happy time, people. Happy 33rd birthday, Neymar. The Brazilian soccer star was in the news recently when he left the Saudi Arabian team that had agreed to pay him about $100 million a year for 2 years. Neymar played 7 games for Al Hilal, scored 1 goal. Maybe the most expensive goal of all time, considering that it cost the team about $200 million, taking into account the $94 million in transfer fees and another $100 million Neymar received in wages. Neymar had left Paris Saint-Germain for the Saudi League. Now he's back in Brazil playing for Santos, his first professional team. Wilbon, are you a Neymar guy?
Kind of, sort of, because my son Matthew is a Neymar fanatic. But I just wonder, has Neymar in any one year been the best player in the world? I mean, I know he's been up at the top.
Are you asking me? Because
yes,
I don't know.
But he played with
guy.
Messi. He got obscured, right?
I would think so.
Particularly by Messi.
Happy anniversary, Hines Ward. On this day 19 years ago, the Steelers receiver caught 5 passes for 123 yards and a touchdown to help seal a Super Bowl victory over Seattle and win Ward the MVP trophy. What's memorable about that touchdown is that Ben Roethlisberger didn't throw it. Antoine Randall L. did, becoming the first receiver to throw a touchdown pass in Super Bowl history. Ward had 4 consecutive Pro Bowl seasons from 2001 through 2004, went over 1,000 receiving yards in each of them. Ward is one of 15 receivers all time with 1,000 or more receptions. He has 1,000 on the nose. This past season, Ward was the receivers coach at Arizona State.
Tough guy, too, Tony.
Yeah.
But what I care about, the name you mentioned, Antoine Randall L., Chicago's own.
Is that right?
Coming home to coach the Bears receivers. He was on the Lions staff, and now.
Okay.
Antoine Randall.
Can't have a day where we don't mention the Bears.
Excited
Can't have that day. Happy trails to last night's game for the Panthers. Alexander Ovechkin scored an empty netter with 1/10 of a second left in overtime to seal the Capitals' 6-3 win over the defending champs. Officials had to review the shot to make sure the puck crossed the goal line before time expired. It was Ovi's 6th empty netter of the season, 25th goal overall, the 19th time he scored that many in a season. He's now just 17 away from breaking Wayne Gretzky's all-time mark of 894. Team has 29 games left. Ovechkin is on pace to break it this season, though he's also under contract for the next one.
You know, one of the most gracious people I've ever met in decades of doing what we do.
Wayne Gretzky.
Is Wayne Gretzky.
I knew you would say that.
And I wonder, he's going to say all the right things anyway. I think he feels the right things about Ovechkin.
He wants to be
his
there.
Record.
He wants to be from game to game to see the record broken.
That?
10 years ago, if you said to me, someone could.
Nobody.
No.
Not even Ovechkin.
No.
And now he's going to do it.
One update, I told you that Jonas Valanciunas would be traded, and he reportedly has been already to Sacramento for Frenchman Sidi Sissoko and 2 second-rounders.
Another Frenchman on the Wizards.
That's the 3rd.
Of course, here in a city, planned by someone influenced by Lafont.
Yeah.
Yeah,
somebody, you should get Tony Parker to coach. He's fluent in English and French. Get him to coach.
He is.
Let's go to the big finish.
He's a little busy.
The Chiefs reportedly reached agreement with Pat Riley to license the three-peat trademark. Your thoughts?
Coach Riley, he got a bundle for this, right?
Money.
A haul, as
Money.
they say.
Money, money, money.
How cool is that? Your boy Kirk Cousins tells Good Morning Football that he hurt his right shoulder and elbow in Week 10 against the Saints. What does that mean?
It means that there will be a reason for another team to sign him for next year, thinking he will get over that and be back. 14th ranked Kentucky fell to number 25 Ole Miss last night, has suddenly lost 4 out of 5. Concerned?
I don't know. Ole Miss should win that game at home. They're ranked. But I want to see these SEC teams when we get to play other teams in March. Two-time major winner Simona Halep retired at the age of 33. Your thoughts?
She won the French and she won Wimbledon. If you're going to win one, you win Wimbledon. That's a big one. Last one, women's college hoops tonight. Top-ranked UCLA hosts number 8, Ohio State. You smelling upset?
Kiki Rice and the Bruins, 21-0, and they crush people.
Do they?
No, I'm not smelling upset.
Okay. We're out of time. Try and do better the next time. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
It's hard for me is calling that a Big Ten game. I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, knuckleheads. And now, your Sports Center.
Didn't Northwestern win last night?
Yes, we did.
You feel good about that?
Oh, yeah, at the buzzer, baby. Yeah.